There we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Reel Me In, a movie podcast, where you didn't really ask for it, but hey, I'm going to give it to you anyways. This is a podcast where I talk about anything, everything, anything about movies. I'm your host, Chase Lee, and listen, if you were struggling across the internet and you wanted to get your daily dose of midget porn or whatever the fuck you guys do on Sundays, and you accidentally came across my podcast and you're not a movie fan, well, maybe I can convince you to be one. This is episode 91 of this horrific podcast. Dear God, we're almost there to big 100. What's going to happen after that? I'm still going to continue to do these shitty episodes. So with that being said, this is live. So if you are listening on Spreaker or if you're watching on YouTube, you can comment that place right up on my face and I will answer them to the best of my ability. If you want to fucking troll me, that's fine. I will fight back. Just so you know, if you're watching on YouTube, it took me a while to get the thing started because I have two tabs open, one for YouTube and one for Spreaker, to record my audio and video versions of these podcasts, and it just takes a while to press the record button on both and have it load because my computer's infested with viruses, and that's what I get for watching all that good old Pokemon porn or whatever the hell it's on there. So, and also, if you are listening on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, a video version of this podcast will be in the description below in case you want to see my face and see my hands move around and flay around like a Kermit, hi, Kermit the Frog here. Or if you are watching on YouTube and you just want to hear my voice and not have to see me, the link will be in the description below as well. So let's get this week's episode started, guys. Of course, we got some movie news, some trailers. I'm having a review of Straight Outta Compton from the crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube. Fuck the police, cruising down the street in my 6'4". That's fucking right. I'm having a review of Straight Outta Compton for you guys. And, of course, box office results for the weekend. And then I'm going to go ahead and plug another podcast that I recently discovered this past week. And we'll just wrap it up like usual. I know you guys don't want to be here for that long, so I'll keep it brief. So let's start with the movie news. So what do we have going on this week? Oh, first piece of news, Zach Galifianakis. We all love him as Alan on the Hangover trilogy, and he's funny in certain movies, and he's actually a pretty good dramatic actor. The first movie I ever saw of him do dramatic work was It's Kind of a Funny Story. So it was a really strange movie to see him in because I was never used to him seeing him in dramas and stuff. And he brought a really humble performance, and I was really touched by it. So good job, Mr. Galifianakis. Anyways, the news is that he's going to be voicing the Joker in the Lego Batman movie. This movie is going to be so much fun. Like, Will Arnett is coming back as Batman. They got Michael Cera to play Robin, so it's a nice little Arrested Development reunion there. And then they got Zach Galifianakis as the Joker. Sign me up, man. Like, that sounds like it's going to be so much fun. And I'm really curious to see how they're going to do this as a Lego Batman spinoff, standalone movie, whatever the hell they're going to call it, because this is done by, Lego movie was made by Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has the rights to all the DC characters. So I'm just wondering, what the hell they're going to do for the Lego one and what they're going to do for Ben Affleck's one. It's going to be strange to have these, two universes going on at once. And, of course, they're still doing the Lego movie sequel. So, yeah, prepare for a bunch of Lego shit. But Zach Galifianakis voicing the Joker, it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for it. So the next piece of news is that for all you Jack Reacher fans, I did not see the movie, nor did I read the book because I can't read, nor do I want to read. I don't like books. Books scare me. That's why I just, I watch stuff on Netflix and stuff out of my collection. That's all my knowledge is. But anyways, if you're a huge fan of the Jack Reacher books and you like the first one, or if you like the first movie, maybe this news will appeal to you. I did not see the first one, so I'm kind of so-so on it. But I'll tell you why I'm kind of edging towards excitement is that they are filming Jack Reacher 2 in November of this year. As well as Mr. Tommy Cruise is going to be doing Mission Impossible 6. So he's got Jack Reacher 2 and Mission Impossible 6 coming out. The guy's a busy motherfucker. Anyways, the reason why I'm kind of excited for Jack Reacher 2, and I will go back and watch the first one, is because that Christopher McQuarrie, who directed the first Jack Reacher, also directed Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, which is my favorite one of the franchise. it's a righteous movie. I'm kind of curious about the sequel now, and I kind of want to see the first one. So, because I love the pairing of him and Cruise for Rogue Nation, and I heard Jack Reacher was okay to good. Some people didn't really care for it, but I didn't hear anyone say it was like god awful or anything. So maybe they can, entice me to go see it. I saw the trailer for the first Jack Reacher. I was not intrigued whatsoever. It just didn't. I mean, Tom Cruise looked like a little hobbit running around New York City with a Yankees cap on, or whatever the fuck he was wearing. Like, I don't know. It didn't appeal to me. So I was like, I'll step back on this one. But after seeing Rogue Nation and seeing what McQuarrie can do as a director, shit, I'm kind of interested in Jack Reacher 2 now. So a trailer comes out and I talk about it and I like it. Hell, I'll go see it. But the thing with McQuarrie is, like, he's been in the business for a while, folks. Like, he co-wrote Edge of Tomorrow. He wrote Valkyrie, which was another Tom Cruise movie. And he also wrote one of the best movies ever made, in my opinion, The Usual Suspects. So the guy's a talented filmmaker. I want to see more of his directing style. So I might have to go back and watch the first Jack Reacher if the second installment, the first trailer, excites me. So that's for all the Jack Reacher fans out there. I know there's probably like 5 of you. So enjoy that news while it lasts. Anyways, next piece of news. This is a news-heavy episode, folks. I have 7 things listed. Yeah, there's a lot of news that dropped. The Disney Expo is going on this week in D23, and there was a lot of stuff that was revealed. There was a Captain America Civil War teaser trailer that was revealed. Obviously, it's not online, so I'm not going to review it anyways. I'm going to wait for the HD high-quality one. But the thing that was revealed was there were some set photos of Civil War, and Black Panther was revealed. And Chadwick Boseman's not in that costume. It's definitely a stunt double because they're like climbing on a roof or whatever from what I saw. And the costume looks okay. I mean, the thing is, what you guys have to realize is that when you see a costume on set, it's going to be fine-tuned in post-production. It might just be a stand-in costume for the double to just see what the stunt looks like, and then they put the real one on. We don't really know. But from the looks of it, it looks like it's pretty accurate to the photo that we saw that Kevin Feige released to us when they had that little, mini Hall H presentation of their own, where they revealed the whole Phase 3 slate. And they showed who was playing Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, who was in Get On Up, and 42. And it showed the costume and stuff. The costume looks badass. And from the set photo, it looks like it's, semi-accurate. So, I mean, like I said, we don't really know the context of it. It could be the first suit of Black Panther. It could be improved later on. We don't know. But as far as the looks go, I like it. And it's going to be really interesting to see a superhero in this Marvel Cinematic Universe to have all black outfit. Because usually someone made a good point on another podcast I was listening to is that, Batman wears all black. Especially from the Christopher Nolan trilogy, and it works because he primarily works at night. It's kind of weird to see the all-black costume during the day, but like I said, we'll have to see it in context, we'll have to see it in action, and who knows, it might just be like, oh shit, that looks pretty good in the day. But the costume looks pretty good. I'm excited regardless. I mean, Civil War is going to be one of these epic movies, guys. It's holy crap. Marvel, just listen, I love you. Just take my wallet, just take my savings, I'll pre-buy my ticket for every single Phase 3 movie. So that's the next piece of news. The fourth piece of news actually dropped yesterday, and that is that Colin Trevorrow, the director of Safety Not Guaranteed, a smaller film, and the director of the third highest grossing movie of all time, Jurassic World, is going to be directing Star Wars Episode 9. Now, this is an interesting slate of directors. We have J.J. Abrams, who rebooted Star Trek, did Super 8, has produced a shit ton of movies, including one of my favorite, Cloverfield. Then we have Episode 8, directed by Rian Johnson, who directed Brick, which I really like, and then directed Looper, which I really loved. Then we have Colin Trevorrow, who did a small movie and a big movie. And I was thinking about this, and it makes a lot of sense. Because let's look at it. Colin Trevorrow can direct a smaller film, and he can also direct a big budgeted film. Star Wars is kind of like both. Star Wars is a big budgeted franchise, but it's also a smaller story that really, hones in on emotions and character driven stories. So makes sense. I mean, when you direct the third highest grossing movie of all time, you're going to get a bunch of fucking offers. I was telling Brian this last night, my co-host of Top 5 Saturdays Live, and I was telling him, like, listen, like, as soon as Jurassic World hit those numbers, especially opening weekend with the $210 million, I'll guarantee you Colin got so many offers to do everything. But I mean, out of all those that were offered to him, of course he's gonna pick the best known franchise in the history of film. And the thing is, he's doing a smaller film with Naomi Watts, and then he's doing Star Wars. So he's kind of doing like this back and forth type thing, which most directors do. They do a smaller movie for themselves, and then they do a blockbuster for the studios, and then a smaller one, then the blockbuster. It's just, it goes back and forth. That's the way it usually goes. So him directing episode 9, like I said, I'm okay with it because it makes sense. I mean, because of what he's done financially with his movies. I just, I kind of wish there was another director with a bigger slate on his resume. But at the same time, let's look at George Lucas. Before A New Hope, what did he do before that? Like 1 or 2 things? So, I mean, like, this whole franchise is really built on just acquiring unknown people and just unknown talent, filmmakers, whatever, and really focusing on the film and the story and not focusing on getting big-ass name actors and big-ass name directors and writers and stuff to helm projects. I mean, the biggest director out of all 3 of those is J.J. Abrams. And even then, he's not that big. Like, he's kind of like in the middle. Rian Johnson's at the bottom, and then Colin Trevorrow now is kind of a little bit above Johnson, but below Abrams because people still don't know him. Only film nerds like us know him. People that listen to this podcast know him. But like 90% of the public don't even know who any of them are. So because there's no Steven Spielberg or a Martin Scorsese or something. So, but yeah, J.J. Abrams is the biggest one out of all 3 of them. I'm curious to see what Trevorrow does, but he's only done 2 movies. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And I told you guys I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, so throw your fucking pitchforks at me. But I'm interested. I'm interested in this whole damn trilogy that's going to be revived with Episode 7. I'm excited for Episode 7. I'm looking forward to it very much. It's just, I don't go bananas over it. You guys know which genre I go bananas over. And Star Wars is just never hit me as much as other films did when I was a kid and stuff. So, yeah, it is what it is. I actually saw Spaceballs before Star Wars. And I love Spaceballs. So, yeah, so that's that piece of news. Next piece of news is that James Wan, this fucking guy, he directed the first Saw, Death Sentence, Dead Silence, the first 2 Insidiouses, The Conjuring. He's going to be directing the new Aquaman. He also directed Furious 7. The guy is a very versatile director after seeing Furious 7 because he's primarily done horror and stuff. But, dude, this guy's like on fire doing action movies. So he's actually going to go back to his producing chairs, and he's going to produce the Mortal Kombat movie. Wow, that's awesome. I mean, this is a guy that knows, well, first of all, Mortal Kombat's got to be rated R. It's got to be fucking gory. It's got to go balls to the wall. James Wan is good at bringing the gore to the screen, but he's also good at bringing tension-filled movies. And I think if you make a Mortal Kombat movie filled with that tension and suspense and that high-octane action, it could be a pretty damn fun time, man. So, I mean, there's really nothing more to say. I mean, if you guys were fans of the first 2 Mortal Kombat's, congratulations, you're going to get your reboot. And it's going to be produced by one of the most talented horror directors and now action directors I have seen in quite some time. So James Wan producing Mortal Kombat, that's really interesting. I mean, the first 2 are like really bad movies, but they're kind of like guilty pleasures. I remember watching the first 2 at my friend's house, and I was like, what on earth is this? This is really bad. So, yeah, Mortal Kombat being produced by James Wan. So there you go. And the second to last piece of news is that Zac Efron is going to be joining Baywatch, with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, directed by Seth Gordon, who directed the first Horrible Bosses. I never thought I'd say this, like, in my life. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it, and, and maybe you guys will feel the same way. I'm actually really looking forward to the Baywatch movie now. And it's only because I think they're going to go the route of like a 21 Jump Street or 22 Jump Street, where they're going to like make fun of themselves, make fun of that show and that premise and stuff, and just go kind of bombastic with it, just all over the place, and just make it super fun and funny and ridiculous. And Dwayne Johnson going against Zac Efron is a great combination. I'm looking forward to that. Because here's the thing. I've been championing for Mr. Efron for years. I think he's a very solid actor. He needs to get better, but I think he's a very solid actor. He's not like the best thing in the world yet. He's done plenty of dramas. He's done his fair share of like those, not chick flicks. Well, he's done some chick flicks, but he did middle movies like 17 again and stuff. And he's doing more raunchy comedies now because I really liked him in Neighbors. I really liked his character. He actually had the most depth, which is crazy to think about. But no, I'm looking forward to see him and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson kind of go at it in this like 21 Jump Street-esque movie of Baywatch. I'm looking forward to Baywatch. Fucking sue me. Like, it sounds so much fun. Efron is a great addition to it. He's really good with the raunchy stuff, so sign me up. And then the last piece of news, this is absolutely my favorite. This is the winner of the week, hands down. Leonardo DiCaprio, Martin Scorsese, teaming up for another movie, and it's called Devil in the White City. And this is based off of the first ever recorded serial killer, Dr. H.H. Holmes. And Leonardo DiCaprio is going to play the serial killer. I don't even know what to fucking say. Like, that, what a genius combination. Well, first of all, Leo and Scorsese are awesome, and they're just as good as Scorsese and De Niro. And it's one of the best film collaborations ever. Like, you have a fantastic actor and an iconic director. You can't fucking beat that. Like, that's just insane. And so the fact that he's going to play this character, and we get to see Leo kind of go a little insane, kind of like he did in Django. This man, it's like he is championing for that fucking Oscar. And people keep asking me, is this his year? No, he's not going to win it this year. He might get nominated for The Revenant, but he's still not going to win it. It's stiff competition. It's not Leo's fault. It's not anyone's fault. He's just going up against 4 other people that knock it out of the fucking park. I mean, that's what's difficult about the Oscars, folks, is that when you get nominated, you have to be the best out of all 5 of you. Like, you have to be the very best, and there just so happens to be other people that are better. It's not a problem. It's just that, he will win it eventually one day. It's just he probably won't win it for The Revenant. But if he delivers what I am probably assuming is going to be a really psychotic and out there performance, even for Leo standards. Remember, this is the guy that was like high on Quaaludes and with the Wolf of Wall Street crawling to his car, which was an excellent scene. Leo goes there. If he's going to be portraying this person, I can only imagine what the movie's going to be like. It's probably going to be Martin Scorsese's horror film. Like, think about it. Like, this is going to be based on a serial killer, and Scorsese's well known for doing his gangster, mobster, biopic movies. This is kind of like a culmination of everything. Plus, he's adding that little bit of like psychotic flavor to it, kind of like in Shutter Island. Think about it, folks. This is the melding pot of everything Scorsese's ever done. And I'm super excited. I cannot wait to fucking see this movie. Devil in the White City, Leonardo DiCaprio, Martin Scorsese. They're doing this shit again, baby. It's going to be fantastic. So I'm really excited to see that. I think they just announced it. And I'm assuming that they can get shooting right away. Maybe it'll come out in time for next year's Oscars, 2016 for 2017 ceremony. Because right now, I think Leo's shooting The Revenant still. Yeah, they're still shooting that movie. So I don't know if they have time to shoot maybe until late this year, and then it'll come out. I don't know. Anyways, I'm excited for it. If you guys are big Leo fans or big Scorsese fans, this should put a huge fucking smile on your face. So That's it for the news this week, guys. It's a very, very long news week, but I wanted to talk about everything that I mentioned. So let's get to the trailers that dropped, because this was a very diverse week for trailers as well. So let's get the shit out of the way, and we'll work our way to the top. Jim and the Holograms. Now, listen, I've been on Jason Blum's side from the get-go. I think he makes pretty solid horror films. Some of them I think are some of the best ones in the past 10 years. And he produces nice smaller films like Whiplash. That kind of blew my socks off. Jim and the Holograms looks dumb. It really does. It looks like the same old shit story that we've seen several times. Especially, this story premise is actually in Straight Outta Compton, where, you have this band and, one of them gets approached by a record deal, and they have to leave their friends with some money. It's the same thing. But the thing with Straight Outta Compton, I'll get to in my review, is that they were interesting characters. I was interested in them and their story. When you watch Jim and the Holograms trailer, this is the second trailer to come out, by the way. The first trailer was awful. The second trailer is just as bad. And they had to introduce the whole hologram aspect of it, and it just didn't fit well with it. And it looks like a mess of a movie. I am not looking forward to it. Jason Blum, I love you, buddy, but this has got to be the least favorite one I'm interested in from your company. And I will even see Ouija over this one. That doesn't look good, man. So I don't know why you're producing this one. But then again, you're producing pretty much every movie coming out this year. So, I mean, if you were a fan of, what was it, a TV show or whatever, sure. But this second trailer just does not fucking fascinate me at all. It's even worse than the first trailer by adding the whole hologram aspect to it and having this little robot roll around. It just looks like a robot testicle just rolling on the floor and like lifting itself in the air, like projecting stuff, and it looks dumb. So that, I did not like that trailer. Second trailer, speaking of from that motherfucker named Ice Cube, Ride Along 2 trailer came out. And it actually played in front of Straight Outta Compton. People were giggling, but they weren't like laughing. I didn't see the first one, nor do I ever want to see it. The second one looks like the first one, just from the trailer. It's just, Ice Cube, he's the hard one, and then Hard Ass and Kevin Hart, he's the whiny one that runs around and trips everywhere, and it's a mismatch pairing. Woo. Like, it just doesn't look funny. And the fact that it's PG-13 has always turned me off. Ice Cube is the type of person to where I want to see in R-rated movies only. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking to you. Are we there yet? And are we done yet? Don't do family comedies. What are you doing? You were in NWA, for Christ's sake. Don't fucking do that. So it just doesn't look funny. I maybe like grinned at a couple of things. But other than that, it looks more of the same as the first one. Didn't see the first one, so I can't really comment on the story or anything if it looks like it's going to follow shit. If you were a fan of the first one, there you go. The trailer for the second one's out. It's basically just an awareness for you guys, but I just didn't really appeal to me. The third trailer I want to talk about is Trumbo, and this is the Bryan Cranston movie, who plays, his name Darnold Trumbo, who was one of the highest paid writers in Hollywood history way back in the day, and he was blacklisted. And it looks like a really interesting biopic. I never knew about this guy until this trailer. It kind of made me want to go research him after watching the trailer. But it looks like a really good biopic. I'm so excited to see Bryan Cranston pretty much do anything after Breaking Bad. Guys, if you haven't noticed, like, it's right there in the background, right there, that little sliver on my shelf. That is all my Breaking Bad seasons. It's one of the best shows ever made. I even have a Breaking Bad poster hanging up on this wall over here. It's like right above my computer when I move my desk back after I record these things. And, it's nice and inspirational. He's sitting like this and stuff, and it's like, that's right. I too will make meth one day. I'm kidding, folks. I'm kidding. But it's kind of like a really odd, inspirational poster, but I dig it. Anyways, Bryan Cranston is an amazing actor. He just is. And like every time he's in a supporting role, he's great. When he was in Argo, he was actually a really good supporting role to Ben Affleck's character. He was also Malcolm in the Middle, and he's actually really funny. He's a funny dude. He's got like the darkest, twisted sense of humor, but it worked for Breaking Bad. It works for his comedy. I'm excited to see this only because Bryan Cranston is the lead. He's carrying this film. Sign me up, man. So check out the Trumbo trailer if you are a big Bryan Cranston fan. I think it comes out in October, so there's that. The next trailer I want to talk about is Burnt, and this is the Bradley Cooper film. Sienna Miller is also in it. Bradley Cooper plays a drugged out loser of sorts, and he's also a chef. He loses everything. He has to gain everything back, and he tries to run his own 3 Michelin star kitchen. Now, I've talked to a lot of people about this trailer, and a lot of people just don't really care for it because it's kind of the same story told over and over again. It's a guy that lost everything, has to get everything back. He rises to the top again. But my roommate is a 5-star chef, and I showed him this trailer, and he pretty much said that like this is what it's like in that kitchen. And Bradley Cooper's character, there's some people like that in his industry. So he actually really enjoyed it from his aspect. Now, in terms of a film aspect, I'm really looking forward to it. This looks like a very good vehicle for Bradley Cooper, and this looks like it could be one of those defining roles where the director will get something really great out of him. It's directed by John Wells, and he directed last year's or 2 years ago, August Osage County, the one with Meryl Streep, Julia Roberts, and stuff. I didn't see it, but everyone that I've talked to says it's pretty much like a stage play, and the acting is what really drives the story and stuff. So this is probably going to be one of those movies where Bradley Cooper is going to lay it out on the table, and he's going to really deliver a unique performance that's going to stand out among his career. That's just my speculation. But I'm telling you guys right now, my roommate is a 5-star chef. He knows this industry at the back of his hand. And I've seen the way kitchens work and stuff. I worked in a restaurant for 3 months. It's a chaotic fucking situation. And it always astounds me that people actually want to do this profession, but to each his own. This is my hobby. So people do weird things. But he said that like kitchens are like that, and they're chaotic, and they're just, they're chaotic. That's the appropriate word. And like when they're done with service, they feel so relaxed and stuff. Like it's a unique environment, man. If you guys ever want to work in a kitchen or go, stand inside one and just see how they work, it's an intense experience. But my roommate liked the trailer from a chef's point of view. I like the trailer from a filmmaking point of view. I don't care that it's one of those stories where he falls at the bottom, he's got to rise to the top. I don't care about that. I just want a good story. I want a good character, and I want a good performance. And I think we're going to get that from this trailer starring Bradley Cooper. And I think this might be his defining performance. I'm just speculating. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. It looks really good. That one comes out in October as well. I really hope comes to Dallas. It probably will, but I hope it's not like limited release and then we later get it. Unlike this next film, this trailer dropped this week, The Hateful Eight, Quentin Tarantino's 8th film. It actually comes out Christmas Day, I believe, in limited release, and then we get it everywhere in fucking January. So I can't put it on my list for 2015, which irritates me because this trailer is fucking awesome. It looks so good. As soon as the trailer starts and as soon as Kurt Russell opens his mouth, you can tell it's got that Quentin Tarantino flair to it. It's got his sense of dialogue. It looks like a Tarantino movie. It sounds like a Tarantino movie. And it's got Michael Madsen in it, Tim Roth. So it's got a bunch of Tarantino like regulars coming back, including Samuel L. Jackson. It's got Jennifer Jason Leigh, and then, like I said, Kurt fucking Russell. Basically, this story is a bunch of guys and a gal are in a cabin in the middle of the mountains because I think one of their stage coaches breaks down and like you have to stay for the night. And like, so these 8 strangers meet up, and what we're going to get is an isolated movie inside one room. And we're going to hear the stories and the character development within the setting. And it's going to probably escalate into a bloody climax, and it's going to be an intense movie. And that's the thing what I like about Tarantino's writing is that he can write suspense, man. believe it or not, he can. Do you guys remember the opening scene in Glorious Bastards? I remember watching it for the first time, and I was like on edge. I was like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Christoph Waltz is going to kill some motherfuckers right now. Like, the dialogue going back and forth, because you know what's going on in the back of your head, but the dialogue is so playful, and then it escalates into this, climax for the scene, and it's like, fuck, man. Like, Tarantino is just so good at what he does. So yeah, he's really good at creating suspense. So with having these 8 characters, with Tarantino dialogue, with Tarantino regulars, being inside of a cabin for the whole damn movie probably, it sounds awesome. And this trailer looks great. The cinematography is gorgeous. It's going to be shot in 70 millimeter, which is an extreme widescreen. It looks really good. It's really crisp. The colors pop out. The acting looks like it's there. And like I said, as soon as Kurt Russell opened his mouth, I was like, oh, this is a Tarantino movie. Even if you didn't know the trailer when you were watching it and you just clicked on something, you opened up your eyes, you start hearing it and watching, you'd be like, that kind of looks like a Tarantino movie. I'm really just excited to see it because Tarantino is one of these directors to where, like, he's been good. He's always been good. But he's getting better and better and better with each film. The Hateful Eight, if you watch the trailer, it immediately reminded me of a Reservoir Dogs meets the Western style of a Django. So it looks like he's fusing 2 of his movies together to get a really cool, unique Tarantino experience. Because I still remember, believe it or not, this was actually what spawned me to do these podcasts. I saw Django Unchained in 2012 in December with some of my friends, and I liked it so much. And we actually went back to their apartment or house, wherever, and we recorded an episode of their podcast. So that was the very first thing I was on as a guest or whatever. And I was like, I kind of want to do this myself. So I actually owe them a lot for going with them to Django and doing my podcast and stuff. So thank you guys. But Tarantino, man, he gets better and better. And I find it really interesting that he wants to retire after 10 films. So this trailer says the 8th film from Tarantino. So it implants that in our heads that it's like, oh shit, in 2 more he's probably gonna retire. Quentin, you're not gonna retire. Okay, you're gonna move on to television or something else, but you're gonna retire. So the Hateful Eight trailer looks awesome. I hate the fact that I have to see it in January, so I will not count for 2015 unless I see that at a press screening in December. Yeah, unless I see it in December, I cannot put it on my list because my rule is it's got to come out between January and December in my area. I don't care if it comes out limited release. I have to see it in that year. So there you go. That's the trailers for this week, guys. It was a fantastic trailer week, except for the first 2 I talked about. I love Burnt. I like Trumbo. And I really love the Hateful Eight. So it's going to be a good Oscar season. Cannot wait. So you guys ready for a movie review? All right, so let's do this. Biopics are the type of movie to where, like, they could be really good or really bad. And the thing with biopics that really kind of get to me is that some of them aren't really truthful. I kind of like brutal honesty, and it's kind of like one of those therapeutic sessions where if you make a biopic and they're making a movie off of you and your life, and you're the producer and you go, I don't want that in there. It's like, I find it kind of liberating if you finally go, you know what? I fucked up in my past. I want people to see this because I don't want people to do these bad things that I did. I want movies like that. I want movies to kind of go there. So walking into Straight Outta Compton, first of all, I'm a huge fan of NWA. I always have been. I know it kind of looks weird because I dress like I'm a 12-year-old white kid that listens to NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, which I still do. Believe it or not. I grew up with that stuff. I grew up in the age of boy bands. When I was in middle school, though, I listened to Eminem and NWA, Biggie, and Tupac, and I had a fascination with rap and hip-hop. It's just one of those things that it's super engaging, and you want to hear these lyrics, and you want to hear their story within this 4-minute song. So Straight Outta Compton, I remember when the first Red Band trailer came out and I reported it on this podcast. I loved it. I was like, oh, super excited. It's directed by F. Gary Gray, who directed Friday. Ice Cube co-wrote that, as well as he's in it. And he also did the remake of The Italian Job. He did Law Abiding Citizen. He's kind of scattered all over the place when it comes to movies, because I haven't really particularly liked everything he's done. But I was curious to see how he was going to do this. And it was produced by Ice Cube and Dr. Dre. So they did have a say. They were the head people on this project. They had a say in what went in there and what didn't. The other thing I really disliked when I first heard about this movie was the fact that Ice Cube casted his son. I was like, oh, God. This is like the biggest case of nepotism I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, oh, we're going to be going into another Will Smith and Jaden Smith situation. It's going to be bad. And but I was like, at least he looks like him. I was like, at least he looks like him. And I was just curious to see how his acting was and stuff. So I go into straight Outta Compton. And I take one of my friends with me, and she is a white woman. So we're the two whitest people in there probably. And 2.5 hours flows by. So what did I think of it? It was great. This is a fucking great movie, man. I can't remember a biopic like that in a very long time where, like, I got done, like, I walked out there going, damn, I was satisfied. I really liked their story. Like, that was great, man. Like, I loved that movie from start to finish. And the thing about it is that it's a 2.5 hour long movie. It flew by. That's how engaging this movie was, because I didn't know anything about these guys. I listened to the group as kids, and I knew Dr. Dre and Ice Cube were in it, but I didn't have any idea what the other three guys' names were. I had no idea about Eazy-E's character or DJ Yella or RC Ren. I had no fucking clue who they were. I just knew that they were in. I just knew that NWA was a group of 5 people, and Ice Cube and Dr. Dre were the most popular. That's all I knew. So going into this, I was kind of fresh. Even though I've listened to their songs for ages, I was still kind of fresh in terms of getting to know these people and getting to know where they came from and how their story was created and how everything went down and stuff. And it was a fascinating biopic. And the woman I took with me, she really liked it as well. So let's break this down. F. Gary Gray, like I said, I like Friday. I think it's a pretty funny movie. I actually didn't mind the remake of The Italian Job. Law Abiding Citizen was like, it was okay. I don't really remember it, so I guess it wasn't that good. So he's kind of like a hit and miss director. So, going into this, I was a little worried that he wasn't going to like nail a consistent tone. It was just going to kind of be all over the place. I got handed to him, man. Like, this was a very consistent movie. Everything was, we started at the beginning and then we ended to where everyone split and did their own thing. It was just a fascinating story on these kids that come from, the hood. And like, I know I sound like really white. They came from the hood there. No, like they came from terrible neighborhoods and stuff, and these were just kids that wanted to create a difference in music. Dr. Dre, Andre, who was a DJ, and he was coming up with the beats and stuff. Then we had Ice Cube, who was like the poet and the lyricist. He would come up with all the lyrics and stuff. Then we had Eazy-E, who was kind of getting into like bad people and stuff. Like he would get into some drug dealers and stuff. He was kind of like the bad apple, and he was roped in there because he funded NWA at first and stuff. And so he stepped in the recording booth and he started singing some songs, and Dre liked his sound. And then they found DJ Ella and stuff. He was another DJ, so him and Dre DJ'd. And then RC Ren was just a mutual friend of Eazy-E, I believe, in the movie. I don't know how it is in real life, but he was a mutual friend, so he joined on. He was also one of the frontmen. So just getting to know these guys it was super interesting because, like I said, I didn't know much about them. I love their music, but I didn't know who they were. And I didn't know about Dre having a kid and Ice Cube going off and doing his own thing because he was pissed about contracts and stuff. It was one of those instances where, like, you come together as friends and like money gets in the way and stuff, and record labels split everyone apart. They had a shitty manager. I don't know how their manager was in real life, but Jerry, played by Paul Giamatti, he was such a douche towards the end. I was like, you motherfucker. Like, these were just kids that really wanted to make it big, and you kind of screwed them over a little bit. So yeah, I really enjoyed just learning more about these guys and how they formed together the group and how they created some of the most iconic rap songs of all time. Like Straight Outta Compton, like if you listen to it, and Fuck the Police and Boys in the Hood, like these are really good fucking songs. And like you listen to them to this day when they are like 25, 26, 27 years old, they still hold up. They really changed the game for rap in general and hip-hop music. Because when this song Fuck the Police came out, this was during the time where police were very brutal, and they they beat a lot of minorities in bad neighborhoods. And this was around the whole Rodney King LA cop situation where they beat the shit out of a black driver, and there was like 8 cops around. They were just beating them with batons and stuff. And this happened in LA, I think, was it 1991 or something like that? It was the early 90s. So this was during a time where police brutality was really big and prevalent in the forefront, because this isn't a new thing. Police have always been brutal towards certain people. It just so happens that they were more in the forefront now because there was this rap group called NWA threatening them. Is your dick that small to where like a simple song threatens you? Fucking get over it. So when Fuck the Police came out, they advised them not to sing it. Like according in the movie, the FBI sent them a letter going, no, you can't do that. And it's like, wow, freedom of speech is really taking a backseat. They're just doing a rap song. They're just speaking it like it is. And I'm gonna go on a little side rant here. Listen, guys, I work for the cops, and I work for the city of Dallas. And I've talked to many of the officers about police brutality and how it's really coming in the forefront again, much more so than back in the day. And cops agree. There are bad apples in there. You guys make it seem like I'm not talking about everyone. I'm talking like the certain people that just absolutely hate cops because of what they see. I get it. There are some shitty fucking cops out there, and they should be prosecuted for whatever the fuck they do illegally. There's cops I work with that agree that there are bad apples and they make them look bad. They know that. And there are some good cops out there. There's some good people out there. It's just that they're painted in a bad light because there's a couple of videos that come to the surface and they are caught brutalizing people, and they're all classified as that. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't matter if you're a fucking baker, if you are a cop, if you're a teacher. There's bad apples in every single company or group of people that you work with. There's always a fucking bad apple. So the cops in this movie that were being brutal to minorities in bad neighborhoods because they were black and stuff, I fucking hate that. I wish that all of those cops would get prosecuted and thrown in jail. You shouldn't do that. You can't abuse your power like that. I've never been in favor of that. It's fucking shitty behavior. You need to fucking stop that. So what they were doing in the movie is that Ice Cube was writing songs that was just showing the world what it's like to live in these shitty neighborhoods. And he was just telling the truth. And these cops got threatened over it. Like I said, your dick has to be that fucking small to get threatened over a goddamn song. It's ridiculous. It just makes me so irritated because there's a couple scenes in the movie where these cops are just fucking abusing them. It's like, fucking step off, man. Like, go away. Because there was a scene in the movie where they're at Detroit and these cops are saying, you can't sing Fuck the Police or you will be throwing the slammer. And it was such a great scene. Like, the crowd was cheering and stuff, and Ice Cube is like, before the show, there were some cops that told us not to sing a certain song. They were basically stripping our freedom of speech, telling us what we cannot play. And then he looks at Dre, and Dre's like, what are you doing? And then Cube's like, Dre, I got something to say to that. And then Dr. Dre's like, oh, fuck the police. Like, they started doing that, and the cops in the audience got super angry and stuff. And it's like, that's fucking right. Just fucking take it. Like, Oh, it's so great. So it's just such an interesting time to where they were making these songs and this music was coming out that was super aggressive and stuff, and these cops felt threatened and it was just an incredible time, and I'm so glad that they just spoke the truth and they were just being true artists, and Cube was just basically telling it like it is, and it was just a fascinating time, like I said. And then towards the tail end of the movie, it jumps a few years after a certain thing goes down, because I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys. A certain thing goes down in the middle of the movie, and then years later, we see them kind of off on their own separate things. Like Dre is off doing his own thing. Cube is writing Friday, which was really cool. It was a really cool scene to see in the movie, just seeing his computer writing and stuff. That's probably how it went down. It's just it's crazy. But we saw Cube, he's doing his own thing in terms of music and movies. Then we see the other guys kind of doing their own thing, and I felt so sad for them, because these were just guys that really wanted to make it big, and they got together as buddies and friends and stuff, and then money and bullshit got in the way, and it's just, you shouldn't let that shit come in between a friendship and stuff. I'm glad at the end they kind of resolved their issues and stuff, and there were certain key moments in this movie that did make me cry a little bit. There was a certain thing that happened to one of the members. I had no idea about this. Like I said, I never researched this group. I just liked their music. And it was really sad to find out that this certain thing happened to one of the members and stuff. And it's just, so I know I went on the directing and stuff for a long time, but it's just a really powerful movie on minorities and bad neighborhoods with police brutality and fame and fortune, friendship, chasing after your dreams. There's just a lot of things going on in this movie. And I think F. Gary Gray totally hit the nail on the head. It's one of the best biopics I've seen in years. I did, however, wish there was a little bit more focus on the police brutality. Maybe, I don't want to see like police brutality just throughout the whole thing, but like I wanted to see a little bit more on it and stuff. And there were certain things with some of the people I wanted to see more of. They just kind of glossed on it a little bit, and then the movie was over, and I was like, oh, I kind of wish they expanded that a little bit more. But that still doesn't knock the fact that I love this movie. I also kind of wish there was a little bit more brutal honesty in it. And I know Dr. Dre and Ice Cube produced the movie, so they had the final say. But I've heard some shitty things from Dre and stuff, and like some of the band members and abuse and stuff. And like I said, I didn't look into it, but I've heard things. And if they are true, I'm assuming they are true, because a lot of people say that there was a lot of bad things that happened with some of the members and stuff and the way they treated people. If it is true, because like I said, I haven't researched. If it is true, I kind of wish they showed that more in the movie. And I wanted Dre and Cube to be like, listen, we did some shitty things in our lives. We kind of want to look back on this and like show people what we did, but just tell them like, don't do this, and like this is what fame does to you. And it's just, I kind of want them to be a little bit more honest, because it was, even though I love the movie, it is still very like Hollywood gloss is like kind of drizzled all over it. And we saw most of the good stuff. There were some bad things that happened between the group members, and there's some shitty things that certain people did. So I'm glad they showed some things. I just kind of wish they showed a little bit more, and it was a little bit more truthful. Because, Dre, you're the first billionaire hip-hop producer and singer and stuff. Like, you can take a hit. If you put stuff in your movie about you that makes you kind of look bad, but you can look back on it and go, I've grown from that. That shouldn't be an issue. You should throw those things in there and, kind of let your walls down a little bit and show us that you were a human being that did some shitty things and you learned from it. So I kind of wish to show a little bit more, but other than that, I did like the directing. It's a really good chronicle look at these guys and where they came from, what they had, what they lost, and where they went. So as far as the acting goes, okay, let's throw this out there. I think his name is O'Shea Jackson Jr., because O'Shea Jackson is Ice Cube's real name. Did you know that? He was not born out of his mom's vagina, and there's like they had like a soda in one hand, and like the doctor was drinking a soda, delivering in the other hand, and the mom looked at the glass and was like, "Oh wow, you got a lot of ice cubes in there." And she just looks down like, "Oh, perfect, that's a perfect name." No, his name is O'Shea Jackson, and his son that played him in the movie. Which, first of all, guys, let's fucking take a look at that for a second. If you were Ice Cube back in the late '80s, and you're just like, man, if there's a movie based on like what we did and stuff, I want my son to play me. And then your son's like, I have to play my dad. Like, how fucking weird is that? It's a weird thing, but to go to his performance, his son, he was actually really good. I really liked Jackson Jr.'s performance. I thought he nailed his dad pretty much on the money. Like, the way his dad acts now, like in interviews and stuff with that grumpy, mad look, like his son completely embodied his dad, which is I still think is a weird thing. But I thought he did a really good job. The guy that played Dr. Dre, I thought did a really good job. I really liked his arc as a character and stuff. And then the guy that played Eazy-E. See, I'm starting to fucking tear up because there's a certain scene in the movie where he breaks down. Eazy-E breaks down and like, whew, I felt for him, man. He killed it. I think he was probably my favorite role besides Ice Cube's son. So he was very powerful. I really liked his performance. And then let's not discredit RC Ren and DJ Ella, even though they're kind of in the background of this movie. That's another thing I kind of wish was a little bit. I wish we saw a little bit more of them. Just trying to be honest. Like, listen, we know that Cube and Dr. Dre are the biggest ones out of this group to ever succeed in this industry or just be successful in general. I don't know what DJ Ella and RC Ren are up to nowadays. I don't look them up. But in the movie they actually are given a lot, which I'm glad they went and gave some of the members that aren't really well known a lot of screen time. DJ Ella probably got the least amount of screen time. A lot of people were saying RC Ren got the least. No, I think RC Ren actually had more lines and more to do with some of the story elements and stuff. I think he was actually more pivotal than DJ Ella, but that's just me though. I kind of wish there was a little bit more to them, but you know, when you're making a movie about Dr. Dre and Ice Cube and Eazy-E, the three forefront people, your movie's going to primarily focus on them. So I don't blame them. It's just I kind of wish there was a little bit more. But the guys that played RC Ren and DJ Ella, they did a really good job too. But my favorite one by far was the guy that played Eazy-E, Eric Wright. Very, very just heartfelt role that I felt for that character the entire time. He was just a really good character. And like I said, I really liked Ice Cube's son. I never thought I'd say that, playing his dad. And then, of course, Dr. Dre. I liked the kid that played him. So, cinematography-wise, the way this movie's shot, it's got that really cool 90s, like 80s look where it's kind of like that glow tint to it and stuff. I kind of dug it. It's almost like watching a movie right out of that time. I felt like we went to a time capsule and like in the ground and we pulled it out and like this movie called Straight Outta Compton. It's about the members of NWA and like we played it and it's like, oh, this movie's made back in the 80s. Yeah, I believe it. So yeah, it's actually shot really well. It's a very clean looking movie. Yeah, I mean, the cinematography isn't awful. The concert scenes were filmed very well. Even when they were in the small clubs and stuff, I love the wide shots of the camera behind like Eazy or Cube, and we see the audience, and they're just like having a good time, and you could see the power that this group had, and I really I felt that power from that group, and those shots really did that for me. So this cinematography is very, very good. As far as the editing goes, like I said, this has got to be one of the fastest 2.5-hour movies I've ever seen. It's kind of like with Wolf of Wall Street. That's a 3-hour-long movie, yet it flew by. I was just, from the get-go, because we started with Eazy-E in the movie, it's just, I was so intrigued on every member of this group. I loved when they came together as friends, when they did their music, when they broke it off, when they came back together, because they're just like, we did some shitty things to each other. Look, we need to be friends and stuff. It's just, I felt their friendship and I felt their group on screen. Because here's the deal. I love their fucking music. Because that's the thing. The soundtrack is fucking excuse me, it's fucking dope. It really is. Hearing Straight Outta Compton, Fuck the Police, Boys in the Hood, and every other song in between on the big screen with the surround sound, you started singing with them every time they started singing a song. Like when they start in the Detroit scene, like I was saying, when they start with Fuck the Police, I was like, fuck the police, come and strike on the ground. Like it's so great. So the soundtrack is kick-ass. It's basically all Straight Outta Compton stuff, and all NWA music for the most part. Yeah, so it's a really fast movie for 2.5 hours. Some people might find it a little too long, a tad too long, but I didn't. I really enjoyed myself. I cannot believe that, because the movie started at 3:45. I turned to my lady friend, and I was like, can you believe it's like fucking 6:45? She's like, I know, it's crazy. So, and like I said, she really liked it as well. Like I said, I've been friends with her for like 4 years, and I never would have thought like we'd see Straight Outta Compton together. And like I said, we were probably the widest people in there. It was it was pretty strange, but she really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I forgot to mention that there's also cameos from other rappers, Snoop Dogg, Tupac. That was really cool to see them. Well, it wasn't them, but it was actors playing younger than them. Oh, and I gotta say this. Suge Knight, you piece of shit. You are a awful human being. And it's not because the movie portrayed you bad, because you are a bad person. I've seen you in the story, like the news stories and stuff, you beating people and assaulting people. You're a piece of fucking shit. Okay, you need to go to jail and just fucking rot in there. Fucking ass bag. I hate Suge Knight, like, to death. And he was in this movie and he was portrayed as an evil motherfucker, and he was. I fucking hate him. Anyways, with all the stuff I said, I really enjoyed this biopic. I love the acting in this. I love the chronicalization of this entire story. It was a well-told story of this group that I had no idea about, but I really adored their music through all these years. It's a very fast movie. If you're really engaged into hip-hop or rap or this group, you'll really like it. If you're not really into this type of music, you probably really won't enjoy this, and it might feel slow to you. And then, of course, like I said, I really wish there was a little bit more truth told, a little bit more honesty. I want to see some more of the bad stuff that happened, because that's what makes us human. We make mistakes and shit. I kind of want to see more of that. But overall, I give this movie a B+. It's an astounding biopic. I think everyone should go see this. And when I get to the box office numbers in just a second, you'll realize how much fucking money this movie made. This movie's got a strong following. I'm not surprised. B+ for Straight Outta Compton. I really enjoyed it. Very good film of August and the summer. Very good biopic. So, have you seen Straight Outta Compton, or have you even heard of it? Of course you heard of it. I want you to comment in the place below, put my face, and let me know what you thought of Straight Outta Compton and what some of your favorite biopics are. So, let's get into the box office results for the weekend. I'm looking at the numbers right now. This is a very interesting week. Okay, so number 5 is The Gift with 6.5 million. If my... God, these fucking pop-ups. I'm sorry, guys. Anyways, 6.5 million. Its domestic haul so far is 23 million. That's the U.S. and Canada. It's got no worldwide so far on a budget of 5 million. It's already made its money It's already made its money back, plus major profit just in domestic territory. That's why Blumhouse is amazing. He creates these movies for cheap. And The Gift is a really good movie. It's actually not a throwaway or anything. It's a really good thriller. I suggest you check that one out as well. Number 4, taking a huge fucking 70% drop. Fuck you, bitch. Is Fantastic Four with 8 million. Wow. A 70% drop. You know what the sad thing is, folks? Domestically, it's got 41 million. And worldwide right now, it's sitting at 102 million. But the production budget I heard was like 120, so you got to double that, plus a little bit of advertising. So we're looking at maybe 275 to break even. It's at 100 million right now. Yeah, 20th Century Fox is about to pay. They're about to take a huge fucking bath, probably $100 million bath. So, yikes! Sucks to be you, motherfucker. I hate that movie. You guys know I'm a big like comic book movie fan, but like I absolutely despise the Fantastic Four remake. I mean, you guys heard my podcast last week, and if you haven't, check it out. Number 3 is a new release, and is The Man from U.N.C.L.E. It stars Henry Cavill, Armie Hammer, what's her name? Alicia Vanderkeer? Oh, I forgot her name, but she was the main chick in Ex Machina, and she was fantastic. Anyways, that came in at number 3 with $13.3 million. It's also directed by Guy Ritchie, who did Snatch, which is another favorite of mine, as well as the Sherlock Holmes movies. It's got no worldwide numbers and it's got no budget, so I have no idea how it's doing. But 13 million is kind of a weak debut. But when you're coming out against Straight Outta Compton, you're guaranteed to be the lesser one. I'm sorry. And the number 2 was the number 1 last week for 2 weeks in a row. Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. So it actually beat Man from U.N.C.L.E., and they're the same genre. It's a spy film. With 17.3 million. This movie just keeps getting more and more money, which it should. It's a fantastic spy film, action film, thriller, you name it. It's great. Domestically, it's got 138, and worldwide, it's got 373 on a budget. I'm assuming it's probably 150, 175. So it's doing pretty well right now, despite all the what the theaters take out in the advertising. It's doing really well. So number 1, guys, you knew it was coming. Straight Outta Compton, from that crazy motherfucking name Ice Cube, from the gang called Niggas with Attitude. Straight Outta Compton made $56 million. Wow. That's a hell of an opening. And I'm glad. I'm glad it opened up to this much. A lot of people were expecting $40 million. This fucker almost made 60. As soon as it made $24 million on Friday alone, I was like, oh, yeah, this movie is going to do serious bank. So for a 2.5-hour long movie, a lot of people still went to go see it. So I'm really glad this movie's doing well. Universal, man. Yeah, I forgot to mention this is a Universal film. Furious 7, 50 Shades of Grey, Jurassic World. Yeah, and Minions. They got a lot of good hits. A lot of money rolling in. And so Straight Outta Compton is just making them more. So congratulations, Straight Outta Compton. You are fantastic. 56 million. Good job. I'm going to X out of that. So anyways, guys, that will do it for this week's episode. I want to thank you guys for listening. I want to give a huge shout out to a podcast that I started listening to. They're fans of mine that listen to theirs quite often, and they're The Film Thing. If you type in The Film Thing on Spreaker, you can go check them out. They're a fellow movie podcast. Go check them out, guys, and support them, because listen, I started out doing this with no fans. I was a nobody. I'm still a nobody, but you crazy people are still listening. So, it took me a while to find people to listen to this and stuff. And it's just, it takes some help. And I really want you guys to check them out. They're a starting podcast just like mine. They've been on for a few months. Just give them a listen. The Film Thing on Spreaker. So, like I said, guys, episode 91 in the bag. Next week, I'm actually going to be out of town Wednesday through Sunday. So, I'm not going to have any movies prepared to review in terms of new releases, because I know American Ultra comes out next week and Sinister 2. I really want to see both. I'm going to be out of town. So, it's actually going to be a late Sunday night podcast. I'm actually going to go over my favorite and least favorite summer movies and just kind of do a whole summer recap. It's going to be fantastic. I'm not going to have like a favorite one per se. I'm just going to kind of just pick out the ones I really enjoyed and pick out the ones I really despise. So that will be next week's podcast. And the week following, to wrap up August, it will be my fall movie preview of September through December. I'm going to go through all the movies coming out in the next 4 months and tell you which ones I'm excited about the most. It's going to be fun. So the next 2 weeks, guys, I'm kind of wrapping up the summer, and I'm going to look forward to the Oscar season. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's @RealChaseLee. If you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, you can do just that. You can do whatever you want. If you want to follow me on Spreaker, you can do that. You can click that follow button. And once again, if you're watching on YouTube and you do not want to see my face the entire time, audio version of this podcast will be in the link in the description below. If you're listening to it on Spreaker and iHeartRadio, links will only be in the description below for a video version if you want to see my weird-looking fucking face. So that will do it for this week's episode, guys, of Real Me and Colin, a movie podcast. If you weren't a movie fan and you listened to this entire thing, maybe I convinced you to be one. So I'm your host, Chase Lee. Tune next week for episode 92, where I go over my favorite and least favorite summer movies of 2015. I want to thank you guys for listening. You guys are fucking awesome. Seriously, I'm really humble and glad that I have people that listen to this dribble every single week. So thank you for listening. You guys are awesome. Have a good day, a good night, or whenever the hell you're listening to this. I will see you guys next time for another episode of Real Me and Colin, a movie podcast. You guys are fucking awesome. Let's play the outro music. Straight out of Compton from the crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube, motherfucker. What? Okay, I'll see you guys later.